Now normally this is the part where I'd be yelling and all that other stuff, but I promised in a previous video that I was going to show off all the movies that I own that were released by Shout Factory, Scream Factory, Shout Select, and I've got a couple of titles from G Kids. And then I started looking. I've got a stack right here, a stack right here, a stack right here, a stack right here, a couple of box sets over here, and another stack behind this one. So with that being said, after looking at it, I have decided I will be doing 2 exclusions from all of this. First things first, I will not be showing off my Studio Ghibli collection. Part of it is I've got multiple stacks over here, and another reason being that not all Studio Ghibli titles are released through G Kids and Shout Factory. Prime example, one of the earliest videos on here, I got Grave of the Fireflies. That was released by Sentai Filmworks. I am also going to be excluding my IFC and IFC Midnight titles. One reason being, like Ghibli stuff, I did come across some movies that I own that were not released by Shout Factory. And I always say at the end of the video or at some point, if you know something released by this company or you know something, what did you pick up, and I know that there would be people that would probably name something. So with that being said, Studio Ghibli movies, if everyone wants a Studio Ghibli movie collection, comment down below and I will do one. I do want to do one for my IFC and IFC Midnight titles because one of the other videos I did on here was I went and saw the IFC Midnight title Settlers in theaters. And I was very excited for it and I hated the movie. And I had a few people say, I thought you liked IFC Midnight. Why did you not like this one? And I really just did not like that movie. And just because I didn't like that one doesn't mean I don't like other IFC and IFC Midnight titles. So if you saw my last video, I do want to let everyone know that is why you will not see the Human Centipede collection in all of this. I don't even know how long this video is going to be because of the amount of stuff I'm showing off. So without further ado, I'm going to start showing off all of the titles that I have that have been released by Shout Factory. Alright, I didn't realize this before I paused to make sure I had everything. I do want to let everyone know now, this will be the one video in a movie collection video where I will also be showing off DVDs. I'm not just showing off Blu-rays and 4Ks. Part of it being because there's some that are kind of connected to other ones, and I have a couple of box sets. But without further ado, we are going to start off with the Shout Select stuff. And I'm going to be showing these off in the order of the number on the spine. Shout Select, they do have the particular number on the spine for those that are unaware. So we're going to start off with Bill and Ted's Most Excellent Collection. This one's number 5. This is the oldest one in the collection. And we got a Wild Stallions guitar pick. Got some stickers for Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure and Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. And this is a 3-disc set. The first disc is for Excellent Adventure. The second DVD or Blu-ray is for Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, and a third disc solely for bonus features. This was not cheap, but I wanted it. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure is one of my favorite 80s movies, so I had to pick it up. Mr. Mom. My local Target recently started putting some of the Shout Select movies on the shelf. And I knew I had to pick these up because I want more Shout Factory and Shout Select and Scream Factory titles on shelves at stores. More specifically, I would like to see more of them at Target and Best Buy because they're going to be cheaper there than they are at FYE. I go over there, this is the only one with a slip, so I had to pick it up. Got a little bit of disc artwork. And we've got a reversible cover. Like I said in another video, I actually prefer the newly commissioned artwork on most of these. Like there's a few where I'm like, I kind of prefer the original, but most of them, it's the newly commissioned one. Plus there's also, with the ones I have that have slip covers, there's a hole right there for the barcode. The barcode is not on the reversible side. Shout Factory, if you could please either put the barcode on the reversible side as well, or have this whole thing covered up so there's, and just put a barcode on the slip. I'd be okay with that. City Slickers. Again, this was one that I picked up at my local Target. This one's, oh yeah, this one's number 28, and this one's number 47. Again, picked this one up at my local Target because they had it on the shelf. And got some reversible artwork. One of the ones I showed off in my previous video, the Man in the Iron Mask. This one is number 49. This is one of the few where I did reverse the artwork and went with the original, and that is When Harry Met Sally. This one is number 59. Like Mr. Mom and City Slickers, I picked this one up at Target because they had it. Another one from my previous video. Legally Blonde collection. Well, this one's not from the previous video. Sorry, got it mixed up. This one was $9.99 at my local Target. Number 66. And we got a little bit of artwork on both of them. Legally Blonde is on one disc and Legally Blonde 2 is on the other one. This one is from a previous video. So this one is California. This one was $19.99 because I'm an FYE member and I bought it the week of my birthday. I managed to get it for a discount. This one is Spine number 68. I bought this one because it was the only one left with a slipcover and I thought $19.99 was not a bad price. So I picked it up. Another one you've seen from a previous video, The Wizard. I've already shown this one off. This one is Spine number 102. From the same video as The Wizard, Twins. And this one's number 113. Again, from the previous video. This one's actually number 114. The only ones where I've got them back to back. And that is All About the Benjamins. Spine number 117. City Slickers 2. I picked this one up from Amazon. It was, I believe, $16.99 or $17.99. Bought it for two reasons. One, I've got the first one, might as well get the second one. And two, I have heard this one's going to be announced soon as one that is going out of print. I am not a source of information for this stuff, so if I am wrong, do not say, well, Luke over at Let's Watch a Movie said that it's going out of print. I am not a source of information. I look my stuff up online just like the rest of you do. And finally, Spy number 122, Havoc. So this one I picked up at Best Buy. I got it like the week after it came out. I saw it on the shelf and thought, you know what, I'm gonna pick it up. And I remember liking this when it first came out because I thought it was just cool seeing Anne Hathaway go from Princess Diaries to this. And I remember the movie did not get well received, and I watched it again, and I still enjoy the movie. So, I don't know what to say on that. But everything I've just shown here are all of my Shout Select titles. They're in order from Bill and Ted to Havoc. I'm not trying to get every single title because one, that's a lot of money, and two, a lot of them have already went out of print. But before I go to the next one, comment down below. Do you own any of the Shout Select titles? What titles do you have? Do you have any recommendations on stuff I should pick up? Keep in mind, these are a lot of different genres. So just pick something and go, hey, check this out. The next one, I am going to be showing off various licensed stuff and my G-Kids stuff. Alright, so I am about to start showing off my various licensed stuff, my animated stuff that's been released by Shout Factory, random imports that Shout Factory just licensed out. This one, there's no real specific group. I do have my G-Kid stuff in here because I don't have that many of that stuff. But that's probably the only one. Alright, so first thing we got is Transformers Prime Beast Hunters, Predacons Rising. This was the movie they did after they wrapped up Transformers Prime, which in a very unpopular opinion is one of my favorites from the Transformers animated stuff behind the original series and Beast Wars. No, I do not have Prime because finding those, one, not easy to find, and two, the Blu-rays are not cheap. I was very, very lucky that I found this. So, got that. Speaking of Transformers, Beast Wars Season 1. So for a lot of people, the original cartoon was their introduction to Transformers. For me, it was this one. Now, I've got to be honest here. The CG on this is not good. But, again, it was my introduction to Transformers. Beast Wars was definitely a part of my childhood. Not to mention, I got both the Season 1 set and the next one I'm about to show off at Big Lots for $8 each. And one of those sets is now out of print, I believe, or about to go out of print. So the fact that I was able to get the entire, well, the first part of Beast Wars, because there's also Beast Hunters and there's another one, I think. The fact I was able to get it for 16 bucks total, can't really complain. So you already know what's next. Beast Wars Seasons 2 and 3. Like I said, I got both of these at Big Lots at the same time for $8 each. I wasn't going to complain about the price. It's part of my childhood. Had to pick it up. The next one. Again, a huge part of my childhood. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie. I remember begging my parents to let me see this in theaters. But at the time, my parents didn't have a lot of money when I was little, like when this was out. So that wasn't really an option. But I remember that was one of the first VHS tapes they bought me when I got my own VCR to go in my own room. And they had to buy the movie twice because I watched it to the point where the cassette tape broke. And if I remember correctly, this has some disc artwork. Yes, it does. So there is the disc artwork. And there is the inside. If I remember correctly, I think I got this for $9.96 or $12.96 at Walmart. They had this and they also had Turbo. Turbo's when I quit watching. I watched the original series and I watched Zeo. And I watched Dino Thunder when I found out that Tommy came back. So I have no shame in admitting that. Comment down below if anyone else, like myself, is a huge fan of Tommy. Pro-Man. A couple of my friends that are huge anime people were telling me that I should check this out, that I would love it. It's got a lot of cool stuff. It's also got multiple short films that are connected to the movie. I didn't mind it. It wasn't bad, but I wouldn't say it's one of my favorites. And you got some disc artwork for the DVD and the Blu-ray. I forget where I bought this at. It was either at Target or Best Buy because that's where I always pick up my new releases. The next one. Weathering with You. I picked this up because this is from the same director who made the anime movie Your Name. And Your Name is definitely up there for me. Like, my favorite things in anime are Yu Yu Hakusho, D. Gray Man, and Ghost in the Shell. Weathering with You is up there. Like, probably my second favorite anime movie to the original Ghost in the Shell. Or third if you want to count Vampire Hunter D. So I had to pick this one up day one at Best Buy. I did not care about the price. I just knew I had to pick it up. It was the same director. When I bought Your Name, I went back and bought his other movies. I love. There's only one of his movies I think is just okay, and everything else is amazing. Not quite as good as Your Name, but still a great movie. Weathering with You, I highly recommend everyone checking this one out. And we do have a little bit of artwork. We got the Blu-ray, we got the DVD. And yes, I'm aware that the artwork is similar to that of Studio Ghibli stuff. This is not a Studio Ghibli title. Because I know I said that I was going to be excluding Studio Ghibli from this particular collection. The next one reminded me that I have an incomplete trilogy here. We've got Howard Lovecraft and the Frozen Kingdom. One of the comic book stores that I visited when I was out of town one time on vacation, I picked up the first graphic novel of this particular series. I thought it was pretty good. And then I found out that this was coming out, so I was like, all right, I'm going to go ahead and check this out. You can definitely tell this has a lower budget than what you would probably be used to with certain titles, especially with CG animation, but overall, not a bad movie. Just keep in mind, they went CG and they did not have the biggest budget. Other than that, enjoyable movie. And then we have the sequel, Howard Lovecraft and the Undersea Kingdom. For anyone that's wondering, the third one in this one is Howard Lovecraft and the Kingdom of Madness. No, I don't own it. I never saw it in stores, and whenever I check online, they're out of stock for the Blu-ray, and I'm not picking up a DVD when I already own the first two on Blu-ray. But this one is the sequel. Pretty much the same as the first one. Pretty good movie. Overall enjoyable. The next one, excluding any of my IFC and IFC Midnight titles, this is probably the cheapest Shout Factory title I have ever gotten. And that is Jack and the Cuckoo Clock Heart. I managed to get this for $3 at Big Lots. Just thought, hey, it's an animated movie. I like animated movies, so I thought I'd check it out. It's based on a French children's story, I believe. And I don't, yeah, there's nothing special as far as the artwork goes. But definitely a good movie. Rendell, Dark Vengeance. Me being a comic book fan, a superhero fan, like, you can see why I would want to pick this one up. It's okay. That's the best thing I got for you. I don't like that I spent the money that I spent on it. It was probably either $12 or $14 from Walmart. Not a good movie. I just thought, yeah. Next, one of the DVDs I said I would be showing off. The 70s Captain America movies. I picked this up because I got it at Dollar Tree. So that means I got it for $1, and it's 2 movies. It's got Captain America and Captain America 2, Death Too Soon. And it features Christopher Lee as the villain. Yeah, these movies, they exist. And if you're lucky, you might be able to find it at Dollar Tree for $1. If you find it somewhere else, make your own judgment on whether you want to buy it at that price or not. And finally, the 90s Captain America movie, where the ears are attached to the helmet and Red Skull looks weird. I got this because it was one of the ones that Shout Factory at the time had announced was going out of print. Only reason I picked it up. I had seen this movie prior, and it's not good. But if you can find it somewhere and you're willing to shell out some money, because you're going to have to shell out some money if you get this, you've been warned. I only got it because I knew it was going out of print, and I'm a comic book person. Alright, so the next portion, well, let me go ahead and show off. These are my miscellaneous licensed titles, my G-Kids stuff, and a couple of animated things. Comment down below if you have any of these. Also, if you own Transformers Prime on Blu-ray, comment down below where you got it, because I have not been able to find it for a reasonable price. I would definitely love to add those 3 seasons to my collection because I did enjoy Transformers Prime. But the next portion of my collection is the largest portion of my Shout Factory titles, and that is my Scream Factory collection. This one is going to take some time. Just letting everyone know now. Alright, so as you can tell, we are now at the Scream Factory stuff. This is hands down the largest portion of my Shout Factory collection, because I'm a huge fan of the horror stuff. And all the horror films get released through Scream Factory. So, without further ado, Season 1 of Slasher. Alright, I gotta give credit where credit is due. Shout out to Chiller when they existed for trying to join the TV game when TV shows were really starting to be really good and get big name actors. The flaws in Season 1 were very present when I watched this. I don't have Netflix, so I've not seen the most recent seasons. I will be checking out the most recent one that's either on Shudder or will be going to Shudder. But I did watch Season 1 when it was on Chiller. I'm glad it's an anthology show. Let's just go with that. Misery with the Slip. Got this one at Best Buy. The price tag said that this was $14.99. I go up there and it rings up for $26.99. Yeah, that was a fun day at Best Buy. So I'm going to keep it up with the Stephen King adaptations, even though it's only for one more title. And that is Firestarter. Got this one at Walmart, I believe. And I was surprised to not only see it there, but it was also fairly cheap. I think I got it for $9.96. And then there's the original artwork. Like I've said before with a lot of the Shout Factory titles, I actually prefer the newly commissioned artwork. Comment down below, what do you prefer when it goes to the artwork with the Shout Factory titles? Do you like the new one or do you prefer the original? Child's Play. I managed to get my hands on this a year after it went out of print. The fact that I got it after it went out of print is a shocker to me. So, unfortunately, there is a nice little issue up here with the slipcover, so I'm not going to be taking that one out, but it's one of the ones where I have considered reversing the artwork because the original poster for Child's Play is pretty cool. This one is a favorite of mine when it first came out on DVD, because I got it before it was ever released on Blu-ray. I think I came out in like June of whatever year it was. I made all of my friends watch this. I think I watched it during that summer at least 10 times. I watch it every Halloween. You will see this movie again on my 31 days of Halloween stuff that I've got planned on doing. Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon. This movie is amazing. I love this movie, and it's got so many people from previous horror films in here. It is awesome. I cannot stress this enough, how you need to check this movie out. It is one of the best that I've ever seen before. You must watch this one. Candyman. Oddly enough, one of the movies where I was able to get my hands on it at Walmart, which was also a shocker because it's got a slip. I think this one was $12.96, I believe. Again, I'm just glad I was able to get my hands on it because I enjoy it and I was able to get one with a slip. Candyman Farewell to the Flesh. I only got this one because it was going out of print. I think you can still get copies of this for a reasonable price because this movie sucks. I don't know what else to say on that. Another movie that I watch every Halloween, Trick or Treat. When Spirit opens up near me, I will definitely be seeing if they have some Trick or Treat stuff. I have one of the action figures. I'm trying to see if I can get my hands on some of the pops this year. And I managed to get this with the slip because last time I was at FYE, they did not have any copies with the slip. I paid $29.99 for this. I do not regret it. Alright, so next I am going into the George A. Romero section of my Shout Factory titles. Unfortunately, which I'm kind of freaking out about, I do have the movie The Dark Half, and I could not find it when I was going through my movies, which kind of scares me because The Dark Half is now out of print. Night Riders. I liked seeing that Romero could do stuff outside of the horror genre. This is one of the first movies that you see Ed Harris in, I believe. And Tom Savini's in here as an actor. Not a bad movie, but not something you're going to see me watch regularly. Still, not a bad movie though. Monkey Shines. Again, this was a movie that I got because I heard it was going out of print. And we do have some other artwork. This is one of the ones where I flipped it because there's the barcode. The barcode's only on the newly commissioned one, so I actually went with the original on this one. Good movie, but like I said, main reason I picked it up, it was going out of print. Day of the Dead. I managed to get this at FYE used for $9.99. So I'm going to possibly give an unpopular opinion here. This is my favorite of Romero's Dead movies. I know a lot of people will say the original because it's the original. I know a lot of people say Dawn of the Dead because it was different from some of the other movies. For me, it's this one. I know that Romero didn't get to do what he wanted to do with this movie. I know there was a lot of compromises that had to be made. But at the end of the day, this is still my favorite one. And we do have the original artwork. It's alright. I definitely prefer the newly commissioned artwork though that Scream Factory did. Land of the Dead. So, just like Day of the Dead, I managed to get this one used at FYE. And the thing is, this was never even opened. But it was sitting there in one of the little plastic bags with a used sticker on it. But when I took it out of the little plastic bag, it was still wrapped up. This is a 2-disc version. It's got the theatrical release and an unrated version. And it's got the original artwork. It's alright. I definitely prefer the commissioned one though. Now I do want to say Creepshow is coming up and soon-ish, possibly. But I do love the Creepshow movies. I love the Creepshow TV series on Shudder. Creepshow 3 I never watched because Romero and Stephen King both said that's not Creepshow 3. The real Creepshow 3, Tales from the Dark Side, the movie. This is one of the most fun watches I've had as far as anthology films go. I just enjoyed it. It was great. It's weird because I don't hate the TV series, but this I had to get. Alright, so for the next few, we are going to be showing off some stuff from John Carpenter. Prince of Darkness on 4K. I picked this one up because I want Shout Factory to do more 4K stuff. And got some artwork on the 4K, some artwork on the Blu-ray. I never did check. Nope, there's no reversible artwork on this one. But there is the artwork to Prince of Darkness. Yeah, I ended up passing on getting They Live because I thought I already had They Live. But when I was looking through my movies, didn't see it there. When I checked my Blu-ray.com page, also not there. So unfortunately, I only have Prince of Darkness when it goes to the John Carpenter 4K. The Thing. Managed to pick this one up at my local Walmart. The Walmart I normally go to check out movies is not the one closest to me because the one closest to me does not have a good movie selection. Every so often, they do have some shockers on there, and I think I picked this up one Halloween for $12. And for anyone wondering, I currently have yet to get the 4K version because the 4K was released by Universal, and this is the Scream Factory edition. One of the titles I've shown off in a previous video, body bags. Like I said, talking to customer service over me getting this one is one of the reasons I will forever love Shout Factory. All I did was ask about why this didn't show up. They responded. Then they sent me another email saying it's been shipped. And I got it 2 days later. So, again, not to mention, it is a collaboration with John Carpenter and Tobe Hooper, which is going to lead me to the next portion of my Scream Factory pile. Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2 with the slip. Yes, I'm aware this one's out of print. I've already shown off quite a few out of print titles. No, I am not selling any of these. Do not ask me if I'm going to do that. Don't ask me to part with the slips. Not happening. So, that. Got the disc artwork. And when I used to have Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 on DVD. This is not the cover I had on the version of Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 I had. I think most of you probably have seen the one I used to have, which is just the one with the chainsaw on it. Also, one of my favorite sequels, which says a lot because the first movie is my favorite slasher of all time. Not showing that one off, Scream Factory didn't release it. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Next Generation with Renee Zellweger and Matthew McConaughey. I picked it up because I own all the other Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies. This is where the franchise started to go downhill. After this movie, there's only one movie that has come out since the release of this one that I have enjoyed. That is the reboot in 03 with Jessica Biel. I picked this one up because it was on sale at the time, and it has the slip. Owning franchises has its downsides. Alright, so Sleepaway Camp. I managed to get this one brand new at FYE for $9.99. I don't know how I got it for $9.99, but I got it for $9.99. And you got artwork for the DVD and the Blu-ray. And then there's the original artwork. Tales from the Crypt and Vault of Horror. I'm a Tales from the Crypt fan. Tales from the Crypt was actually my introduction to finding out that comic books were not just superheroes. And for anyone who says anything about me reading Tales from the Crypt at an early age, read the comics. You'll find out, yeah, the TV show was a bit mature. Comics were not quite as mature. Like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have been reading them at the age I read them at, but it was my introduction to, I found out, not all comic books are about superheroes. So the first disc is the uncut version of Vault of Horror and the Tales from the Crypt movie. And then you got the theatrical cut on its own separate disc. And the inside artwork. You got Tales from the Crypt on one side and Vault of Horror on the other side. Swamp Thing. Definitely had to pick this one up. As I've already mentioned, I am a huge comic book person. Swamp Thing is the first character outside of Batman and Superman to get multiple media adaptations. Swamp Thing, there's another movie, Return of Swamp Thing. There's a TV show in the 90s. There was a TV show that was on DC Universe. There was an animated series in the 90s as well. So I had to pick this one up. And it's directed by Wes Craven. Wes Craven made Scream. He made Nightmare on Elm Street. Hills Have Eyes. So of course I had to pick this one up for more reasons than one. Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead. Picked this one up, it was $17.99 I believe at my local FYE. I mean, I had to pick this one up. It still had the slip. And just like my copy of Land of the Dead, this one was marked as a used movie, even though when I went to open it up, it still had the slip. It had never been opened. Long story short, check your local FYE. You would be surprised at what you can find at FYE from time to time. Silent Night, Deadly Night, Part 1. I got this one on Amazon after managing to get my hands on Part 2, which you will see in a minute. And there's the original artwork. I do like this original artwork, but as you're going to see in a minute, I've got Part 2. Part 1 and Part 2 look really, really good together with the commissioned artwork. The Part 2 artwork, let me show you. Doesn't quite fit, plus I have the slipcover for Part 2. Managed to get this one at FYE. It was the last copy with a slip. I've seen people selling just the slipcover for like 10 bucks on eBay. Valentine. This was again another movie I watched when I was younger and I remember enjoying it. Plus, when I was a kid, I was a huge fan of Buffy and Angel, and David Boreanaz is one of the leading characters in this movie. If you haven't seen it yet, I'm just going to leave it at that for anyone who has not seen this. But I enjoyed it. But like with all slashers that are from the early 2000s, it did get poor reviews. I disagree. King Kong. Definitely had to pick this one up. I will eventually show off my Godzilla and Kong and Toho collection. So you'll be seeing this one again. And finally, Return of the Living Dead Part 2. I'm going to be honest, I thought this was Part 1 when I picked it up. I wanted to pick it up because I found out that Part 1 had went out of print. And I saw this at FYE for $30. I was like, well, it's already selling for 50 bucks at the time. I think it's the price for an out-of-print copy of Part 1 is now went up. Because I found a copy somewhere else and they were trying to sell it to me for $100. But this particular one, I picked it up not realizing that it was Part 2. Don't get me wrong, Part 2 is still pretty good. But I picked it up thinking I was picking up something that was out of print. And there is the artwork. And just for anyone that's wondering, yes, I do have Part 1. I got it at Dollar Tree. I got the MGM version. And Part 1 is awesome. Part 2 is not bad, but Part 1's definitely the better movie. And I'm going to try to get my hands on Part 3 real soon because I'm thinking about getting all the Vestron movies. But that is my entire Scream Factory selection. The next part of my collection will be my steelbooks. And I've got one in here that's not a steelbook, but it's definitely a limited edition thing. You'll see once I get to it why I've got it with my steelbooks. Alright, so now I am at the Steelbook section of my Shout Factory collection. Well, mostly Steelbooks. There's going to be one thing in here that's not, but I think it makes sense on why it is included with the Steelbooks. Battle Beyond the Stars. Saw it cheap at Best Buy. It's a Corman movie. Keep that in mind when you're watching it. It's a Corman movie. Transformers, the 25th anniversary Steelbook. For some reason I thought there was artwork in here and there's not. Transformers, the 30th anniversary Steelbook. This one is 4K and Blu-ray. And I think includes some art cards, which I've already shown off. And I don't know why I've got the Blu-ray in here first instead of the 4K. And then there is the G card. Fargo. I forget where I read it, but I heard this one was possibly going out of print. Saw it on Amazon for a decent price. At the time, I had some issues with some of my stuff not arriving on time. So I had a little bit of credits to use on Amazon. So I was able to get this for $15. And the disc is pretty much the same as the regular version. And also in the near future, I might be doing a video where I show off my movies from the Coen brothers. I've got a couple things coming in the mail that are from them. And if you've seen some other videos, then you already know that I've got some stuff. Pumpkinhead. Again, one of the movies I really enjoyed when I was younger. Saw this for a reasonable price, so I picked it up. And it's one of the ones where the artwork goes across the front and back. An Escape from New York. So this was one of the first Steelbooks that Shout Factory did. I'm going to be honest with everyone. I only picked this one up because out of the ones they had, this was the only one that was a 2-disc set. I forget what other ones they had. I remember they were all John Carpenter movies, but I didn't have the money at the time, so I only picked up one, and I picked up this one. Piranha Steelbook. Same thing as Child's Play. This had already went out of print. I saw it at FYE, and I picked it up. The movie itself, it's alright. And the artwork goes across. Also, for anyone that's wondering, because I am realizing this now that I'm saying it, yes, I do have protective covers for my Steelbooks. I just didn't want to have to deal with all the reflections and stuff, so I went on ahead and took them out before doing this video. Night of the Demons. This is one I actually recently bought. I went to my local FYE to get the next one I'm about to show because I saw where that one was going out of print. And I went to pick it up, and the stack of Steelbooks they had, I think there was only 3. Pick it up, and behind it was not another copy of that movie, but 2 copies of this. I go on Blu-ray.com to where I see this one is also out of print. So I was like, oh, I might want to pick this up. I did not want to buy both of those at the same time, but I went on ahead and did it anyway because one of them I specifically went to grab, and then this one I didn't want to take any chances. So what did I actually go to FYE that day to pick up? Slumber Party Massacre. Watched this one, I think the night I bought it. And I very much enjoyed it. So there's the artwork across the front and back. Also, they had the wrong price tag on this, so I ended up getting it for a cheaper price. And when I'm able to get something that's out of print for a cheap price, I'm going to go for it. And finally, I kind of mentioned this one earlier, being a fan of the movie, the TV series, and Stephen King and Romero saying something. This is not a steelbook, but I think everyone would understand why I am including Creepshow with my steelbooks. It's a thick box. So let me... I did go with the reversible artwork on this one, just because I like the comic book look. I traded in a couple of titles I had. So when I went up to the front to buy this, I ended up only paying $10, I believe. Because that's why I didn't want to show this one off inside, because inside it's my receipt. To my knowledge, I think you can still get the Warner Brothers version for anyone that does want to get this. Just to let you know now, though, the Warner Brothers version is bare bones. It is just the movie. There's no special features. So, yeah, I ended up getting this for $12.14 after I did all my trade-ins. But yes, this, let me see if I can do this without destroying anything. My Shout Factory, Scream Factory Steelbook collection. And yes, I am aware that there are quite a few that I don't own, but they're not easy to find. They're not exactly cheap. And I've had issues buying steelbooks in the mail before, so I don't like doing that. The next portion and the last portion of this video, I am going to show off my Shout Factory and Scream Factory box sets. We have reached the end of my Shout Factory movie collection. And this part, I am going to be showing off box sets. I'm going to comment down below already because, spoiler alert, I at the moment do not have the Friday the 13th box set. I don't know what to say on that one. This one should come as no surprise that I have it because I've already shown some other stuff off that Shout Factory has released from this particular franchise, and that is Transformers, the original series, the complete series. Gonna be honest, good series, but the last season I did not enjoy as much. Real Monsters, the complete set. Real Monsters is one of the cartoons from my childhood. I grew up at a time when Nickelodeon started doing Nicktoons, Cartoon Network started doing cartoons. So when I was able to get my hands on this for a reasonable price, I got my hands on it. Another one. Rocko's Modern Life. So, with this one, when I was a kid, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a cool show. I liked seeing all the animals and stuff. When I got older and I understood some of the references they were making, oh, wow. I am surprised that my parents let me watch this because my parents were fairly young when I was born. So I know that they knew about some of the references in this when they would watch it with me. How I managed to get away with watching this, I still don't know. But definitely one of my favorites. It's one This and Rugrats are the ones that I can still go back to and watch regularly. Like, I love Our Monsters, but I don't watch that one like I watch this or Rugrats. And I also like the fact that after season 1 proved to be successful, the creator of the series, Joe Murray, went through and did commissioned artwork for season 2, season 3, and season 4. So if you get the individual seasons, the artwork for seasons 2 through 4 were commissioned by Joe Murray himself after seeing people getting the season 1 set and seeing how many people were wanting season 1. Yes. Oh, and this has the original pilot where Rocco was bright yellow. This is one I've shown off in another video before, but it is Shout Factory. I showed something else off from this franchise earlier. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the complete series. So, season 1, season 2, season 3, Alien Rangers, and bonus features. Now we're going to get into the Blu-ray portion. The first ever Shout Factory box set that I bought, it's a live trilogy. The way this box set is made concerned me when Shout Factory announced other box sets, because unlike the other ones that have a nice little box to it, this is a really little flimsy case. But we got It's Alive, It Lives Again, and the extremely ridiculous Island of the Alive. Next one, we've got the Critters box set. I showed this off in another video. Got the first 4 movies in here. If you have seen my Dollar Tree hauls, I want to say it was the first one that I did for this channel. Then you already know that I have the 5th movie. Overall, sturdy box. Definitely felt a little more relieved when I found this in stores compared to It's Alive. And this has Critters 3, which is one of the first movies starring a young Leonardo DiCaprio. The Fly. I wanted to pick this one up day one and could not find it for a reasonable price anywhere. I think the cheapest I saw for the longest time was at my local FYE for $74.99. That's a lot of money for some movies that, like, I enjoy them, but I didn't pay $74.99 for any of these other box sets, or the last one I'm going to show off. But you got 5 movies. You got The Fly, Return of the Fly, Curse of the Fly, then you got 80s Fly, and The Fly 2. And finally, probably my favorite box set from Shout Factory and Scream Factory. And yes, I will be saying this once I get my hands on Friday the 13th and record. And I'm sure there's a few other ones that I'm forgetting. This one's still my favorite for one reason only. The Omen box set. So I do want to share a little story with this one. I went on Blu-ray.com a while back and someone mentioned, hey, there's a couple of Walmart stores that are selling the Omen Scream Factory box set for $39. And you get all 5 movies. You got the original trilogy, you got the 4th one that was a TV movie, and you got the remake from '06. And I wanted to pick this up because I wanted to upgrade my DVDs to Blu-ray. And the other Blu-ray box set that's out is flimsy. The case is DVD size. I don't like it. Anyway, I go there I picked this up, and that's the same week the 10 Commandments came out with the Blu-ray digibook. I don't have the 4K, but I did get the Blu-ray digibook when it came out. I live in a very conservative area. And one of the biggest reasons that where I live makes money is the religious school nearby. I go through this kid's register, through his line, because at the time, this particular Walmart was still setting up their self-checkout lines. Plus, this is a rated R movie. If you go to Walmart, you get a rated R movie. You got to deal with them making sure that you're of age to buy it. Kid scans 10 Commandments, then scans this, and the look on his face was priceless. I couldn't tell if he wanted to cry, scream, be worried, freak out. I don't know. But I was amused. But the number one reason I did pick this one up, the original Omen is one of the few movies to scare the crap out of me. The first time I ever watched this, I did not sleep the next night. So I picked it up for that. And hard to believe, looking at it now, that this was the movie, if I remember correctly, that Richard Donner did right before he did Superman. So we went from the Omen to Superman. I'm always amused by that. But that's going to do it for this one. I don't know what my next collection video is going to be. I've got a couple different things in mind. But comment down below if you own anything from Scream Factory, Shout Factory, Shout Select, G-Kids. Comment down below what you would like to see. I do promise IFC Midnight and Studio Ghibli will be getting videos, but with both of those having films distributed by other companies, plus it would have made this video a lot longer than it already is. That's why I left them out. So comment down below of any other Shout Factory, Scream Factory, Shout Select titles you think that I should pick up that I can find. Don't be naming out of print stuff because I'm not paying $100 for a movie. But if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, like this video, leave a thumbs up. Again, comment down below. What did you think of the Shout Factory collection? What do you think I need to add to the collection? Do you want to criticize me for not having the Friday the 13th box set? But that's going to do it for this one. So thank you all for watching and tune in next time.